I'm coming from a situation where everybody in my family has been victims to drugs. And
what I've learned about addiction, it don't love nobody. It sucked me in and spit me out to the streets. They didn't love me. And
I mean, my life started off when I was young. My family was drug use, alcohol use was not, atypical. I grew up around alcoholism, so it was the norm. Seeing it was normal. So by the time I got to 12 years old, it was the norm. I began to experiment with drugs and alcohol. And some of the experiences that I had as a child, it really helped me kind of cope with them, so to speak, and not have to deal with them.
My biggest issue, I think I needed approval. I had rejection issues as a kid growing up, and I wanted to be a part of something. So that sense of belonging, so getting high was a part of that.
I would leave work, and instead of going home, I would just kind of ride around and drink and smoke or do whatever that I did. And after a while, it got later and later coming home, which caused problems with my girlfriend who was living with me at the time. When we had more problems, I used more drugs. January 2002, one afternoon, I was in an altercation with another young man who struggled as I did, and I took his life.
My mother was an active addict who eventually got into her form of recovery. But apple didn't fall far from the tree, and like it or not, as an honor roll A student, I still found my way into addiction.
I was exposed to a life of crime. Parents was into that, siblings was into that. So that was pretty much the family business, illegal activities. So, I adopted, selling drugs pretty early, and, that just led to a lot of incarceration in and out of the system.
I suffered some trauma when I was a child, so by the age of 12 I was already into heavy drug use, alcohol use, stuff like that. I was incarcerated when I was 21 years old. I came to the system with the same lifestyle that I had out on the streets. I didn't see no reason to change. I had no hope, there was no parole, no nothing. Due to my immaturity and lack of responsibility, I took a bad situation, I made it a whole lot worse.
On June 26, 1998, I became extremely intoxicated, and I went out with some individuals, and I took a man's life. And I was so intoxicated, I barely remember even doing it. I was 17 years old. When I turned 18 years old, I was sentenced to life in prison without parole. And I brought those same coping mechanisms with me into the prison system.
Substance use disorder is a medical and mental health condition. It's not a moral failing. It's not a weakness. The more we learn, the more we understand the biology of this, and it's right there in the brain. There's chemical changes in the brain. Those changes lead to the changes we see outwardly, the changes in behavior, changes in physical symptoms and feelings that people have. This is absolutely a medical condition, and it's a chronic disease. People used to call it substance abuse disorder, but words are really powerful, and that's very stigmatizing. It helps no one. So there's really been a trend towards being person first, patient-centered, and calling it what it is. It's a substance use disorder.
A setback can be a part of someone's story in recovery. It can be, and if we do, we acknowledge it for what it is. We return to misuse because the disease of addiction, it's the first word, substance use disorder.
Recovery is possible for everyone. And I can tell you that time and time again, we have seen individuals with lengthy criminal histories, with years of addiction behind them. But one day they make the commitment and the decision to stay abstinent from drugs and work on themselves.
I started to realize that getting high was only constantly leading me down a destructive path. So I started to feel like I got to do better, not just for me, but I wanted my family, you know, to know that I'm trying to do right. And the program offered that to me.
I have a little brother, and he committed suicide. And I did not know how to process that, because not only am I trying to process his loss, but it really opened my eyes to the gravity of what I had caused to another family. So at that day, the same day I found out about my brother's death, I used heroin for the first time. And that right there was what I thought was the answer to all my problems.
I just didn't understand why I was that type of person, and why did it lead me to do the things that I have done. You know, I didn't know that I was creating a monster.
Not being able to raise my son, not being able to help my parents the way I wanted to, not helping myself, having all the opportunities I've had in life, and losing all those things.
And then in 2008, I suffered a blackout. It would have turned into an overdose if my roommate didn't save me. And when I was in the hole, I was detoxing. And I was right then in that moment in 2008, March 13th, I made a commitment. I had a long talk with God, long talk. And I made a commitment to myself, him, and my family that I would never use drugs. Nothing, substance would never enter my body ever again. And I've been clean ever since that day. But it has not been easy.
I ended up doing 25 years in prison. So I was in there for a violent crime. So I ended up getting a lot of time. And I'm talking about 8 years, 8 to 10 years to realize that I gotta do something different. I can't leave prison the same way I came into prison. And so I started, it's like a light bulb went off. You know, I have one of those moments.
A switch flip, as opposed to like sinking deeper into my own learned helplessness. I kind of developed an optimism in the situation. I said, look, I'm in this box and there's no one else to help me. There are no training wheels, there's no one else gonna come in here and get me. I have to save myself.
So my story is I was arrested for the 12th time. I was arrested for the 12th time, and this time when I went to jail, I did not have anyone to call. I did not have anyone to come visit me, and nobody put money on my books, and I was in a cell all by myself, talking about all the decisions that I had made had led me to this place where I had nothing and nobody.
I think for me, like everything just had these, it was like this domino effect. It just started with one word of encouragement, that it was a seed planted. And then as life started to progress, it was some watering, and then this seed, it died unto itself, and then it sprouted, right? But the officer, Sergeant Cressel, he said, man, look at it this way. He said, this is an opportunity for you to get your life together, like that. And I'm like, ain't nothing wrong with my life, you know, because that's all I've known, man. This is the norm.
The correctional officers and the folks they see every day in the facility, the building managers, the unit managers, really care about them. They want them to be well. They want things to go right. Those folks also, they're taught to understand about substance use disorder. They're taught to understand the resources. They're taught to be able to help people navigate. So really, to be able to bring those people together as well is going to be really important for folks.
Most guys have release dates, and you got to think that going forward, like you're gonna go home one day. So you got goals to look forward to, you know. You just gotta push yourself to be a better person. It's hard, but you really gotta okay, I can't get involved.
You gotta take responsibility and accountability for your actions. You can't blame your upbringing, the system. You can't do that. You won't move forward. You stay right there in your past and you won't go no forward. So tell guys, you really wanna start changing, you gotta stop. Do self-reflection, you know, and redirect your behavior back to yourself and be honest with yourself. And then you start moving forward in life.
Recovery is just, it's right here. Just like the drugs were, recovery is right there. You just got to reach your hand out and take it.
Coming right up saved my life from prison life, because I was getting high, like I wasn't going home, you know what I mean? Like just trying to die every day.
I don't know if you even realize how different you are from the person that came to this group. And I think you deserve credit to that, you know what I mean? Because I know it takes a lot, especially in this environment.
The Virginia Department of Corrections offers a comprehensive approach to substance use disorder. Within correctional centers, there's a wide variety of available services. We have residential programs that involves individuals living together in housing units, supporting each other in their recovery. We also have outpatient groups where these programs are going to meet once or twice a week, where you'll come together, you'll learn relapse skills, you'll build on your self-efficacy and recovery, and you'll develop the skills needed to maintain a long-lasting journey in recovery. We also have self-help groups that includes Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, Celebrate Recovery. In addition, we have peer recovery specialists available throughout the Department of Corrections.
I have devoted so much into transformation and being transparent. It's, you know, just making sure that I'm always doing the right thing for the right reason, no matter who's there, no matter who's not there.
Do you think enough about yourself to act as if no one is watching, because you know who you are and you stand by it regardless of who's around? That's growth, and to me, that's self-discovery.
Peer recovery specialist services are services offered by individuals who are in recovery themselves. The beauty of a PRS role is that it can't be bought or taught. It has to be personal lived experience. So it has to be something that somebody has actually lived through themselves, and then they take that resilience that they learned in their own recovery, and it's turned into hope for other people.
There's people that's been through this. There's people that's been exactly where you're at right now, and they found a way through it. Find those people and stick with them.
An incarcerated PRS is that bridge. They're the bridge between treatment and law enforcement. They understand both. They understand law enforcement, they understand policies, they understand procedures, but they also understand how important it is to be a person in recovery and offering their personal lived experiences.
The guys that are in here that's wearing these right here, like, we know, we've been there. So we've walked the walk and we talked the talk.
As much as I dreaded to come here, as hard as it was tough love though. And it was fair. Recognize that you put yourself here and these people are here to help you.
You might be the reason why you came here, but the change that you made in your recovery is also on you. Being able to relate to each other, I think that actually has more impact on the guys than anything else.
You know what I mean? It helped you build your people skills, different friendships with people that I never thought I'd be talking to in prison. Now, you know, I sit down with them, hear their stories, share mine. So it's a community.
I learned from Mr. Williams to actually be patient, to actually try something. The other person I learned from Ms. Hen is to actually speak up and stop holding stuff in. I used to hold stuff in a lot, so I'm becoming more verbal.
I work on accountability, responsibility, and integrity to help change addictive thinking, criminal addictive thinking, and institutional thinking so that we can work on all aspects of life, not just the addiction piece.
That's what a peer mentor does. He has to listen, make sure, that I'm all right, I won't fall into some type of suicidal trap or some type of emotional disturbance.
Because addiction affects every area of your life, not just addiction, your family's been impacted and everything. So to see them improve all of those areas of their life by changing small things and paying attention to the way they think.
Regardless of what's going on in your life and how overwhelming that may feel, you can still overcome and achieve big things, and you can still be there for others.
All of that goes back again to taking advantage of programs and classes that the department makes available. That's what I did. I looked at my own deficits that I had, and I said, well, what do they have available that I need to take to better myself in those areas, to give myself a better chance on the outside?
I said, I want all of them. Sign me up for every one of them. Dual diagnosis, commitment to change, meditation. It was just a holistic approach to it, and I really dove in and I committed myself to it, and I think that's what helped me, was I gave my all to it, I committed to it.
The caring, the outreach of individuals that do actually care, and the guys realizing that they're not just another paycheck, that they are a life that is worth saving.
I want to be, a good father, the best father I could be behind the wall, a good son, a good friend,
and maybe even somebody can learn from my journey. That's my reason for change, man.
In addition to all of these other services, remember that medication-assisted treatment services is available when you consult health services.
Addiction and substance use changes how your brain actually interacts. There is an actual physical withdrawal that is happening and your brain cannot make it. So DOC has the MAP program that enables you to get that medicated assistance treatment in addition to being able to do an interactive journal, have counselor support, and also to have PRSs come alongside you while the groups are available to you.
The questions that were in the journal just sparked thoughts and feelings that, you don't even know are there, but it is there. The issues are there, the feelings are there.
It's a good feeling to be sober and clean, and to think it with clarity. I believe that I still have a good chance to earn my way back into society. This is like the first step. If I can be raised from that condition to the condition where now I have no urges to get high, I have no desire to get high. Not that there aren't days that an urge may pop up, but I know how to deal with it now.
Man, life is awesome, man. I got 2 beautiful daughters, got a son in the military. Substance use in my family go as far back as my great-great-grandparents. But my children today, they've broken that generational curse.
So one of the most rewarding, impactful, life-altering, life-changing things that happened for Alethea is not using drugs. Not using drugs. 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 second at a time. And minutes turn to hours, and hours turn to days, and days turn to weeks, and weeks turn to years.
There's a quote by Mark Twain, and it says that there's 2 great days in a man's life. The first one is the day he's born. We'll have to do this again. And the second one is when he finds out why.
Addiction is giving up everything for one thing, right? And recovery is getting everything by giving up one thing.
As long as you got breath, you got hope. That's something I can relate and I can understand. And I believe that's in all of us. Being better than what we think we can be, but putting forth the energy to become that.
I love waking up every morning, don't have to worry about where I'm gonna get the next Xanax from. I love waking up, going to a group, being a perfect role model to my community. I just love being in the TC program because they have taught me things that I didn't know that I had within myself.
You got to be willing to change who you are. That's the hardest things for human beings. Changing, we don't like change. But we can't keep doing the same old things we was doing. That's the definition of insanity.
I feel good today. I feel like I can make a difference. Rather than being a burden and pulling everybody down, feel like a sail rather than an anchor.
I am no longer that inadequate, incompetent, unworthy woman. And for the first time in my life, I do not need validation from anyone or anything outside of myself to be myself.
You're capable of more than you can imagine. Recovery is possible, and we do recover. We might have the scars from the recovery, but the scars are there to show that we're able to heal. Don't isolate yourself because the stigma, it's got to be diminished. Be the example to others that recovery is possible.
Get your power back. Get involved in your recovery. Get involved in your injury.
You're more than this. You're more than a prisoner. You're more than a drug addict. You're more than a heroin user, junkie, meth head, whatever you want to, whatever label you've been called before. You're more than that. We're people. You're a person.
Don't let those who have already been defined by this space determine your definition of what this space can be for you.
If nobody's told you today, I believe in you. And I know that if I can do it and witness multitudes of people break free from addiction, I know that you can too.
Recovery is not just possible, it's out there waiting for you. Go get it. We will take the journey with you.
I am now the director. I'm now the director for the Office of Recovery Services. And I am blown away at the power of recovery. Because I never, ever thought that I could get off the corner, let alone be the director for a statewide office that oversees the very thing that gave me life.
So don't give up, don't lose hope, and don't stop before the miracle happens.